Here's what else might change for school admissions. I'm Tyrone Bowman. This is Tyrone Bowman Tonight. I'm going to talk about an article as reported in the educational section of Politico News. So, according to Politico, the Supreme Court's gutting of affirmative action on Thursday has sparked a new drive among education groups, lawmakers, and civil rights advocates who want to unravel other common practices for how applicants are admitted. Education and civil rights organizations could challenge standardized tests, which they are barriers for underrepresented students. The leader of the anti-affirmative action movement, Edward Blum, has urged elite colleges to consider legacy admissions policies, and Representative Bobby Scott, a Democrat from Virginia, who is a ranking member of the House Education Committee, has called on Attorney General Merrick Garland to start investigating schools that use admissions requirements that he believes, quote, have discriminatory impact, close quote. Quote, there are paths forward to ensure racial equity in higher education, close quote, said David Hinojasa, an attorney with the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law, who urged on behalf of a group of students opposed to the suit against the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And we will pursue every avenue to hold universities accountable under federal civil rights laws to reinstate a fair admissions process where students' identities are celebrated, not shunned. The High Court's decision to end race-conscious admissions practices at Harvard University and University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill gives way to a number of legal targets and admissions hurdles that institutions will have to navigate as they aim to diversify campuses. Here they are. Before I read that, let me just say this. Isn't it ironic how one of the Supreme Court justices utilized affirmative action in every aspect of his life to gain admissions to universities? He used affirmative action to gain access to corporate America. He even used affirmative action to be put on the Supreme Court, and now he is the driving force behind closing the doors for many African Americans. It's ironic, isn't it? Legal battles over admissions might not be over. Blum, the head of Students for Fair Admissions, which successfully sued Harvard and UNC, says he's ready to challenge any school that might try to strike the law. He threatened to initiate legislation should universities definitely flout their clear ruling and their dictates of Title VI and the Equal Protection Clause. Quote, the administrators of higher education must note the law will not tolerate direct proxies for racial classifications, close quote. Blum said in a statement, for those in leadership positions at public and private universities, you have a legal obligation to follow the letter and the spirit of the law. While Harvard and UNC expressed their disappointment with the Supreme Court's decision, they recommitted to ensuring students with different backgrounds, perspectives, and lived experiences are admitted to their campuses. Both institutions said they will be reviewing the High Court's opinion to ensure their admissions policies comply with the law. For almost a decade, Harvard has vigorously defended an admissions system that, as two federal courts ruled, fully complied with long-standing precedent. Outgoing President Lawrence Bacow said in a statement, in the weeks and months ahead, drawing on the talent and expertise of our Harvard community, we will determine how to preserve, consistent with the court's new precedent, our essential values. The chancellor of UNC shared a similar message on Thursday. Carolina is committed to bringing together talented students with different perspectives and life challenges, and to making an affordable, high-quality education accessible to the people of North Carolina and beyond, Kevin M. Gukzitswa said in a statement. Bobby Scott, a graduate of Harvard, called on Attorney General Merrick Garland to investigate colleges that use racially biased admissions tests in developmental and legal and legacy admissions. He said lawmakers must review other college admissions requirements that could be racially discriminatory or have disparate impact on unrepresented students. Race consciousness admissions policies provided a counterbalance to these discriminatory factors, such as inequitable evaluates K through 12 schools, racially biased admission tests, and developmental and legacy admissions. That all marginalized students of color, Scott said in a statement. Now that the court has invalidated that balance, I call on the Attorney General to start filing cases now against any current school practices that violate the Equal Protection Clause and Title VI of the Civil Rights Act because they have discriminatory impact. This isn't the first time Scott has scrutinized legacy admissions, which gives admissions advantages to children of alumni, or standardized tests that have long been part of college applications. Scott has said a key problem with the oral arguments is the affirmative action cases was that the justices didn't consider how the use of these requirements would affect unrepresented students. Blum, an unlikely ally who urged elite universities to end policies that give preference to legacy admits. For decades, our nation's most elite universities have given preferences to the children of alumni, faculty and staff, athletes, and notably substantial donors, Blum said in the statement. The elimination of these preferences is long overdue, and SFA or SAFA hopes that these opinions will compel higher education institutions to end these practices. And the article continues to say this. Blum stopped short of saying he intends to pursue a lawsuit on these factors at a press conference in response to a Politico question. Blum said that legacy preferences are not actionable in court, adding that he won't be challenging standardized tests either. The future of race-neutral admissions policies at competitive public schools could also be decided by the Supreme Court as a case involving a highly selective Virginia Magnet High School makes its way through the courts. The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, in a 2-1 decision in May, ruled that the Fairfax County School Board's admissions policy for the Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology did not desperately impact Asian American applicants. It reversed the lower court's ruling that had found in favor of the parents suing over the policy that revised the school's rigorous admissions process to improve the potential for unrepresented students to attend. This is ridiculous. Let me say something right here. Isn't it ironic how immigrants from other countries have come to America and they've been afforded every opportunity to succeed. They even have their businesses strategically located in black neighborhoods and gain their wealth from black people. Yet they're the first ones to cry discrimination. Are you serious? Asra Naomi, the co-founder of Coalition for TJ, which was founded by parents to fight the school's new policy, said their clause or their case is the next step in eliminating racial preferences in admissions and found the Supreme Court's ruling to be encouraging for the case. It is such an important message to the country that racism is not acceptable and we can't use Asian Americans as a we said. Race-neutral admissions is just another way, it's another word for racism. That's the next frontier for legal challenges. I'm Tyrone Bowman. Never surrender, never quit.